Late night chat. Want to check in and see who's available this evening and what's on your mind. Haven't been able to stick to my normal format this week, but I figure I would just give it a second, see who's on here, find out what's going on, what have I missed, and more importantly, connect and see what's going on in your neck of the woods. Always trying to find out what's happening around this country or around the world. So as always, let me know who's watching via chat. And so it won't be on long this evening, but it's going to be a late night for me. So I figure I would just get on and say what's up to everybody, see what's going on. So we got a couple people checking in with me. Let me know who's watching. Shoot me a little message or whatnot. Let me know you're here. But more importantly, as I see, it looks like the internet talk about reconnecting, but won't be long. But just want to find out what's going on. More importantly, share with you a couple of thoughts and whatnot on my end. And so I think the last time I checked in via late night, I think it was earlier this week. I think, and this is before the whole Venezuela situation jumped off, of which it looks like there's going to be more of a push to really get Maduro up out of there this spring. And so the question will be, how desperate is the deep state slash the U.S. and all the people who want to press for war? How desperate are they? And how much are they willing to really, how far are they willing to go with this is my question to you guys. So Jared says, Silver. Got everyone, good everyone. Good evening, everyone. How you doing? Yeah, so what's going on with silver? I saw the price got slammed down. I think it was 14.75 or something like that today. So not surprising at all. But once again, as I've always mentioned, I don't really follow the price day to day just because at the end of the day, it's not really about, the price. As I always say, it's more so about the possession. So also, I might as well, let me do a little unveiling. Got some things I want to share with you guys. I was going to wait till tomorrow, but I feel like I'll do it now since someone mentioned silver. But got a chance to work on a little RTD collection piece. And so I was going to actually do a video tomorrow. I might wait, but we'll see how it goes tonight. So the question should be, how the hell do we stop this? Angie, stop what? I don't really see how we could or how we can stop what's going on just because it goes a lot deeper than we're even aware of. We only see what's going on the surface, primarily what we're told through mainstream media. And so, of course, when you have, I'm assuming you're referring to our intervention and interference with Venezuela, but not to mention every other country that we've interfered with, whether it be Syria, Iraq, trying to get into Iran as well. And so, yeah, there's no real stopping that, I don't think. And it used to be that it was up to the people to vote in political figures that actually cared about the best interest of our country. But it looks like, and this is just my opinion, that all political figures are probably bought and paid for by special interest groups, by whoever they pledge allegiance to, which is unfortunately not the people or the citizens that vote them in. So I'm not sure what we can really do about it other than make our own individual preparations and take actions individually to diversify, get away from this system that we're in as best as we can, however we can. But even though we're in it, I believe we don't have to be up of it necessarily, especially when it comes to financially and most definitely spiritually and everything else. So, Sweet Jones, how you doing this evening? China will take Venezuela's oil. Ain't that snipes? China, I don't think China will take Venezuela oil. If I'm not mistaken, Maduro has, I know with Russia particularly, Maduro has given Russia access to some of their mines and some of the mining rights, I think. And so I'm not sure about necessarily oil and petroleum, but for sure, because of the amount of loans that have been extended to Maduro and Venezuela, a lot of those loans came with stipulations that they would have access to, whether it be oil or mining rights. So it's basically, Maduro sold a little piece of his country in exchange for some credit as well as some debt forgiveness and things like that. So I don't know. They don't necessarily have to take it because they already purchased it, I believe. It says CVS today said they are closing 46 stores. Jeff, you are always on time when it comes to those retail store closures. I appreciate you sharing that. So 46 store closures. That is not good. Man, it's closing over 48 stores. So Delonzo said 48 Can I get 50 coming up? Anybody gonna say 50 stores closing? Not surprising at all. And once again, so it looks like, and it looks like it's being set up for a complete retail apocalypse, in the fact that most of the small pharmacy stores, shoe stores, clothing stores, I would imagine even grocery stores, pretty soon are going to go out of business because of, the rush to automate things, as well as make it to where they have the what you call them, the self deliver, or not self delivering, but the automated delivering services, and the Whole Food through Amazon, and what's the name, Walmart, getting into the grocery side of delivering things. So it's a lot of competition out here for these smaller things, smaller businesses, where unfortunately all these, like, we got, I don't know, we still have some Rite Aids and CVS's around here, yeah, but once again, I don't even go there. You know what I'm saying? Like, so if I need any prescriptions, whatever, I go to my pharmacy type of thing that's actually at a hospital. And then anything else, little knickknack, over the counter stuff, I automatically go to Myers or Walmart, just out of habit, which is not good, but it is what it is. It says Russia wants Venezuela natural gas reserves. Yeah. And so it appears to be that Venezuela, I guess, and Iran are the last two untapped resources of to where, the elites don't have their hands on the natural resources of those two countries in particular, to where it's going to come down the next couple months, couple years. We're going to hear a lot about Iran and Venezuela always been under pressure. And of course, we know who's going to be, bullying them. We are, or this country here will be the bullies to get to put in their own puppets. I'm addicted to buy silver at these prices. Sweet Jones. There you go, man. Get your weight up. Yeah, I've become, silver has always been I've always, appreciated affordable silver. And I think, if I go back to day one, I got in right after, became aware of everything right after it spiked up to about 50. So on the way down is when I really began positioning myself in it. And so since then, of course, I always get it on sale, or I'll get I'm more of a small gram type of guy. So I like a lot of grams, silver, and more so my thing has just been gold. I've been really taking advantage of the little opportunity through the gold team, where I've just been focusing primarily on small increments of gold, just because I just something about gold I like. I don't know what it is. Says, what else you got? Politicians don't do a single thing but pose and posture as a symbolism of power. Why do we even need roads? Where do we need to go all the time? Good point. 50 just plus 50 just playing. Amazon is taking over. We have a giant mall in foreclosure. Really, Angie? What city or what state are you in that the mall is foreclosing? Yeah, I think there's. I've definitely seen a lot of empty. What's the thing called? Those storefronts on all major intersections. There's always some storefronts, and there's just more and more, for lease signs, or just vacant retail shops that aren't really being occupied. But yet they're still building more. I'm not quite sure why. That's interesting news about the CVS stores closing. I work at CVS, so I'm not sure what to think about this news. I work in corporate. Bro, Timo. Oh, man. Yeah. And so definitely, I would imagine those store closings been announced as a part of the whole restructuring and, the corporate reformations that's going on to make things a little bit more profitable for those companies, where they start off with the small fries, and then depending on how it goes the next year or the next quarter, they might go up the totem pole a little bit higher. So definitely something everybody should be aware of. Does anyone know the cost of mining silver? I heard 11 to 12 US dollars. Sweet Jones, I don't know offhand, but I think from having interviewed some mining people, the cost, primarily silver, depending on what mine you're going for, it's a byproduct, to where it's not really something that a lot of people are mining directly. It's more so just a byproduct out of the ore, whatever type of the grade of the ore it is. But I know the gold itself, it's about 1,300 or 1,200, 1,300, something like that, to where it's not really a profitable. So I think silver is less than the current price right now. So it's not really profitable at all. And then I believe that plays into, I'm not sure, but a pretty large silver mining company, I can't think of the name of it, is actually, I think, shutting down one of their primary producing mines because of the lack of profitability, if I'm not mistaken. Somebody correct me if they know. But once I heard one of the top tier mining corporations is dialing back or slowing down a little bit because they're not profitable, lets me know that mining companies might be hauling back a little bit on the metals. Therefore, it's going to be a pinch on the metal game. Federal Reserve note represent wages and price controls. Mike, what do you think about the post office running out of money by 2024? Jeff, to my knowledge, I thought the post office was already running a deficit in and of itself. Like I never thought the post office was a profitable operation because from everything I've always seen, the government always puts in more than they ever even make from it. So the government has been subsidizing the whole post office service period. So I'm not surprised. I was always wondering why exactly would they allow a company or a certain part of the government in the form of the postal service to even be operational if it's not even profitable, apart from the fact the government can subsidize and do what they do. But yet the problem is so many postal workers that bought into the, work for the government, work for the UPS postal service. I think they're, I don't know what they're making, but I would say they're probably overpaid already for not doing much work, apart from the people who are actually out on their feet delivering mail. So I'm not surprised. I actually saw something about them talking about going back or thinking about going to 5 days a week as opposed to 6. So I think the best thing for them to do is just dial back on delivering mail altogether, and the government to get out of subsidizing the postal service, let them compete fairly with everybody else, and then we'll see what their services are truly worth. It says, Mike, what do you think of Bick's road to Ruta? Bick's where? I mean, a good guy. I've reached out to him a couple of times to have him on a show. Haven't heard back from him, but other than that, he's been seeking truth and sharing his research and things like that for quite a while. And so I follow all the Grand Canyon Gold, and I'm not sure. I don't really buy into his good guy, bad guy philosophy of the good guys are in control. Like he always says, the good guys. And apart from the little bit of evidence that he tries to share, I really haven't seen much that would lead me to believe that there's good guys behind the scenes, because if there were good guys that posed a threat to the corporate elites and the central banking model and all the lies that have been told for decades or not, if not centuries, I don't think those people would allow a small group of good guys to continue to exist and to mess up their plans of losing control of the system. So I think they would probably just get rid of those good guys, if there was a group of people labeled as good guys. So, but other than that, good guy, man. I definitely support anybody who's out there trying to inform people and get people to wake up and get their weight up, because he's still a gold bug, silver gut bug, even though he's gone, more crypto than anything else. So more power to him. Yawol says Russia and China may want Venezuela's oil as well. The difference is they go about it economically and legally instead of waging war. Very true. Very true. And I'm trying to figure out, apart from the U.S. always basically just trying to remove and implant their own puppets to basically steal from their own people to give it back to special interests and corporations at a very discounted rate, or allow special interest groups to go into those countries to buy up everything. I mean, that's not really a good business model when people don't really care for the U.S. like that anyway. So Angie says Massachusetts. The roads already exist. Nobody's going to dig them up. Silver rounds, all about the pounds. Says what we got here. Reformation. One mall closed in Swansea, Massachusetts. The other in Taunton, Massachusetts, about 50 miles north of Boston. Yeah, Massachusetts, Boston, man. That's a pretty expensive area there. So people not shopping there, something's wrong. So do you think it's just from a lack of foot traffic into the malls, or are people chosen to just go the Amazon way, which seems to be everybody's favorite thing? Because I'd imagine, a lot of people probably get packages at their doorstep every day from Amazon, like I do. And the packages that aren't not even for me. Uh-oh, here got our first call. Oh yeah. So part of my hesitation on streaming live is just this cough. And for those that have tuned in a couple, I think it was last week, every night I try to go live at this in the later evenings, I start coughing, man. I was like, it just discouraged me from wanting to get on live. But I got me some little lozenges. Somebody suggested the lozenges, yeah. And then I got my tea too. So I should be good for the night. Should be good for the night. But what else out there? What else is going on out there? And so it looks like yesterday, Jerome Powell decided to not raise rates and talk about inflation not hitting its target. And so it looks like they're not getting that 2.0 flat inflation rate target. And what concerns me is that if they're not getting it according to their PCE measurements, there's the product consumer consumption index, then they're going to start manipulating and playing around with some more figures, and they're going to probably overshoot 2% inflation rate. And when they do, it's going to be hard to reel it back in. And so the fact that it literally, I really, really, really believe even more so, those people don't know what they're doing. This whole central banking model has never reached this point to where the government is tapped out. All governments are tapped out. The people are tapped out with debt. And then they have a balance sheet with about, close to $4 trillion on it, of which they can't really do anything with that. So it's sitting there. And you got the first president probably the first president since John F. Kennedy. I'm not even, I wasn't around then, but to my knowledge, that actually verbally speaks out against Fed. Like no one's ever done that before. So you have a president talking about we need to cut rates now and start printing money. That's a lot of pressure. So, I don't think this is going to turn out to be a pretty situation for those that are sitting on large stacks of financial instruments in the old monetary system as it's ending. But that's just my opinion. It says good as subjective value asset. Is a subjective value asset. What are we talking about? Growing your own food. Uh-oh. We have terrible foreign policies. Faith. So that's the whole thing. Like, what exactly do we consider foreign policies? Like, the U.S. primary foreign policy is to dictate and to tell other countries what we want or what our government wants them to do that's in our best interest. So what type of foreign policy is that, period? That's like, what kind of word can I give that? We're basically politically bullying other governments, telling them what we want them to do. And if they don't do it, we're going to either pass some sanctions on them, mess up their whole financial game. We're going to do some type of false flag event, cause some type of accident to occur in their country. Or 3, we'll just label them as a terrorist, which and of course, according to the whole Patriot Act from 9/11, gives this government the right to go in anywhere we want if it's a threat to our freedom or whatever they want to call it. So those 3 things those are 3 cards there. So if you don't play the game, you're gonna get one of those 3 cards on you, and it's a wrap. You might as well go ahead and submit and hand over all your resources and everything else. Jesse James says, email, FedEx, and UPS kill the postal office. Yeah, I think Bitcoin will kill the U.S. Treasury. You think Bitcoin will kill the U.S. Treasury? Kill? I don't think kill, but it's definitely going to be very problematic because as all this stuff happens in the monetary realm, people will naturally start looking for solutions, and they're going to start hearing more buzzwords about cryptocurrency and Bitcoin and things of that nature, to where it's going to start getting the attention of a lot of people, which will cause people to speculate and head in that direction. So it will be problematic, but I don't think, because as of now, U.S. Treasury, apart from supposedly handling our financial matters for this country, I'm not sure exactly what they're doing other than facilitating the issuance of debt for our government with these deficits. So I think I would imagine most of the people who work in the U.S. Treasury are not truly working in the best interest of our country, because they're all former too big to fail bankers. And we know that your allegiance must be to your former employers. If you want to stay in the game of central banking and banking, you have to stay loyal to your former employers, because those people truly know what's going on when it comes to our monetary system. or maybe some other administrative agency that has a monopoly or a certain medium of exchange. Administrative agency, not sure about that. Um, but I think we will definitely find out. We're going to find out a lot of, I won't say truth, but we're going to find a lot of things that will shine a lot of light on how corrupt and how fraudulent our whole monetary and financial system is, period. And the next, definitely before Trump leaves office, I think we're going to actually see some things that will be very shocking. Says the malls are dead. Amazon's taking over dead mall. Can't you tell the last time I went to a mall? Can't tell the last time I went to a mall. Jack, yeah, the last time I went to a mall was last weekend, and even it was dead. What day was that? Sunday? Saturday. Yeah, so it was dead. Like, I mean, typically, I mean, I remember when I was younger, and I imagine a lot of people who might be a little bit older, the mall was a hangout spot for teenagers back in the day. Nowadays, I don't think. Yeah, kids walking around the mall staring at their phone. It says mall brought themselves into existence, then they brought themselves out of the market. Yeah, true. Stock market crash 2021. 2021. That's about 2 years from now, Charlie. Crash, and that's the thing. Like, some people say that I do believe that it's going to reach 30,000 and probably go beyond, but it's not because of like people, your average person that works 9 to 5 that has a certain portion of their check automatically contributed to some type of index fund or something like that causes it to go up. It's going to be because of monetary policy. And so I think the Federal Reserve will definitely get into the stock market directly, just like Japan is, and their owns, I think, half the government bonds and half the stock market. And then Switzerland owns a good portion of the, Dow, I think, or whatever. So central banks definitely will get into the stock market. And what that tells me is basically that, once you have entities that have no real reserves, creating funny money, and then buying actual shares of companies, what does that tell you? What does that say to you about your portfolio if you can continue to see it go up, but it's not real growth? It's like artificial funny money being pumped in. Like, so the valuations itself are already overpriced. So they're going to even go that much further. And that means that if no one's truly putting in, but yet the banks are buying everything, when it's time to get out, who's buying? So the central bank's going to buy, and that's going to be problematic because they're going to have to buy more stuff, especially as baby boomers look to get out as they take out their little monthly checks and whatnot. They're going to have to sell. Who's buying? I know, me personally, I don't study this. I don't study equities like that, or even study companies to actually want to be a part of it right now. Like, for example, Apple's big, Amazon's big, and if you're a stock trader, if you know how to do all that, fine. But now, most people, in my opinion, don't actually invest. Only people who set aside money into index funds are the people who have no concern or care about their retirement because it's 20, 30 years down the line. Most things happen now. People are day trading. They're traders. So trading is not buying and holding. So not many people are really holding these stocks now, except the people who don't know what they're doing. And those are the people who, have blind faith and confidence that 20, 30 years from now, their accounts are going to continue to grow and they can just cash out and live happily ever after. But I don't think those days of investing exist anymore, because I consider what's going on now more of gambling than actually investing. But of course, that's all just me. So print money, not an anti-Fed position. We impose our wills on others. Very true. Hello, Mike. Do you have any knowledge of OBE, astral projections into the astral plane? Jacob, I am not familiar with that at all. Please let me know what you're referring to. I'm always interested in learning new things, so feel free to let me know. Death by Debt says, tough on the outside, weak on the inside, the core is fragile. I agree. Rome is burning. The enemy is within. I've been reading about Apple stock is going to rise to 350 a share. Do you think there could be any truth to that? I also read Apple is working on a computerization self-driving car. Any comment? Angie, I don't know. I don't know the price of Apple shares right now, or Amazon. I know Amazon, I've heard it's extremely high and it's split and it's still whatever. But once again, when it comes to Apple, once Steve Jobs passed, the innovation to me left with him. And so now it's just more so them trying their best to be the leader of the tech sector, which as of now, when it comes to Apple products, apart from the community and the brand and the just the loyalty that people have for it, I personally I don't like Apple, so I've never really bought an Apple, never will, and so that's just me. But because for the same type of gadget, like this phone here is an Android phone, but it costs half the damn near a third of the price and does the same thing to me. So it's competition is too much. So I don't think Apple's going to lead. They're going to. I don't think they're going to lead in the next generation of innovation, which means I don't think it's they're not going to be doing much that's worth holding some overpriced stock shares to me. But that's just my personal opinion. And then as far as computerized cars, I don't know, but I think I've heard something like that, but haven't heard anything else to validate that. But once again, who's not getting into automated cars? We got Tesla talking about. I saw Elon Musk said that by next year they're going to have the opportunity that everyone who has a Tesla can actually rent their Tesla out, and it's all done through an app. So basically, every Tesla has that automated driver feature in it. So from starting next year, according to Elon Musk, your Tesla can be parked in a parking lot while you're at work. You can turn on an app that allows people to recognize your car as being available. So while you're at work, your car can literally leave out of the parking lot with nobody in it, go pick somebody up, take them to their destination, and come back and park in that same spot. So your car can be utilized while you're at work, and it drives by itself and it comes back to you and parks in that same spot, and you get paid for it. So if Elon Musk is successful at pulling that off, you're going to have a lot of people going out and buying Teslas to basically cut on a little Uber service in their app so that while they're at work, they're getting paid by their car out there transporting people around. So Elon Musk, I mean, that's genius, man. That is genius as ever. But it's the question of, do you trust an automated car? Like, it hasn't really taken off yet, but would you feel comfortable sitting in the back seat of a car that comes to pick you up to take you to your destination? So, and of course, he's saying it's going to be cheaper than an Uber and cheaper than a Lyft. And so I think people do it to save a little money, but you're driving in an automated vehicle with nobody in the front seat. You're going to be in the back seat. Yeah. Interesting. Disturbing. Yes, DCs and allies are burning. And so it looks like I got a super chat. Let me get to the bottom of it. Lawrence, yes, disturbing. Lawrence Franklin says KBC. Lawrence, KBC, man. I've been tomorrow afternoon at 12 or about 12:30, I'm going to have Brian McGinty joining me. He's going to talk about the KBC, because I as I look into it more for myself, I really think that that's just my opinion, but the idea of having a gold-backed crypto that's redeemable, and especially right now, is extremely cheap. So that's why I personally am taking advantage of how cheap it is. So I'm going to have them on tomorrow. So for those that are watching, if you're interested in finding out more about if you're interested in gold, but then also if you have interest in the crypto sector, you want to see how you can merge both of them together. And basically, what's most intriguing to me is now at this current price, just for $4, you can buy 100 KBC. And in 2 months, you'll be able to redeem that for 1 gram. So basically, right now, gold is 1 gram of gold is $4. So that's a deal you can't beat. And that's just like on us like right now. But it gets better as time goes on. So yeah, but that's everybody's interested. If you're interested, let me know. If not, okay. Do you think Bitcoin makes new highs at the end of the year? Monthly chart looks like it bottomed. Dan, Bitcoin reach new highs by the end of the year. I don't know. I'm not into the TA side of things, even though I have an interest in learning. But based upon a trend, I think if it's not this year, definitely next year, because as always, I do follow crypto heavily every day, more so now, and I hear more and more news about adoption, and the big wigs setting up the systems to handle mass adoption from hedge funds, the pension funds, the baby boom retirement portfolios. So a lot of people are getting in now on the infrastructure side of things to make it easier for those that are far from it to be able to get in it at the simplest form. So I do believe it will reach, some new highs. And so it's just a matter of, will the primary, will the biggest question is, will the bank, how will the banks take that? Because if the true price reaching 20,000 plus for Bitcoin makes the too big to fail banks look bad, because the first go around, they weren't really involved. They're more involved now, but I don't think that they're ready for it to go where they would like for it to go, because they're not as heavy into it as they would like to be. That's why they have all the stable coin stuff, which stable coins give the banks a chance to be the mediator or the middleman in between getting in and getting out of Bitcoin by using their stable coins. So as more people use their stable coins to get in, get out, they're getting little small fees, which is their way of saying, okay, we can encourage people to use Bitcoin, because now if they're using our gateways and our platforms and our stable coin, we getting commissions on that. So I don't think all the banks got their coins ready just yet to let it go freely, because they not only are they going to have their stable coins, but they're going to also be able to, utilize their exchanges as well. So when the too big to fail banks get exchanges, cryptocurrency exchanges, then it's going to be time for all-time new highs. So could be next year. Chuck, it says, if anyone pushes the vision, you should see a red flag. The mortgage is a scam. Charge you twice after you die, after you pay, after you sucker the mortgage for 15 years, monthly interest. Yeah, very true. So Eric, I appreciate the super chat, my friend. 1111. I appreciate that. So I'm assuming that 1111 was exactly at 1111. Appreciate that, my friend. Thank you. Jay says, many companies doing share buybacks with cheap money, artificially inflating casino stocks, market not based on PE ratios, etc. Jay, 100%, man. And that's why, as I was mentioning, how artificial everything is. So unfortunately, most people don't know that. And so unless you actually are positioned to take advantage of this corporation buybacks and this easy money printing by basically a good skill to take up at this current time frame, especially now next 2-3 years, would be becoming a day trader, because you're gambling, but yet if you know what you're doing, you can take advantage of other people blindly trusting this system, because that's where people are putting their money into it. And if you get in, get out, and know how to do that, you can make money all the way to the top and then short everything on the way down and make money. So when it comes to investing in these old financial vehicles, it's the buy and hold that I think is going to cost a lot of people their fortunes. Like, we're earlier generations were told just buy and hold and ride out the volatility. Like you're all like, like Dave Ramsey's and the Chris Hogan's, they say just buy and put your money in a nice growth stock mutual fund and you'll be fine for 20 years. Never mind when it goes up, it goes down, because after every recession, it always recovers. But yet one thing they don't really tell people is that, like, the true value of the dollars put in when the stocks crash and it's inflated artificially back up because of monetary policy, the purchasing power of those dollars never really rise back to where they're at, to where people don't really benefit like they think they do. Like their portfolio nominally may go up. So say before the Great Recession, if you were at 100,000, if you lost, I think it dropped 30-40%. I'm not sure what it was offhand, but you lost 40-50,000. Now if it's up now 120,000, did you really gain, or did you just barely get back what you lost anyway? And then factor in inflation. And so you really didn't break off at all. You probably more so even, purchasing less. What else we got here? Exciting times. The dollar is collapsing now. Yeah, Faith. And the thing is, the VIX, the dollar index, in relation to all the other currencies, every time I see some mainstream news, it's talking about the dollar strengthening. The dollar strengthening, which is, it, to me, shows that all the other currencies that it's measured in that basket of currencies is obviously going down. That's all. Is the dollar really strengthening? Like, are more people rushing into dollars? Apart from the nations that are already having issues, they're fleeing their currency because it's going down, and they're going into dollars, which is pumping it up a little bit. Yeah, Tony, I agree 100%. The dollar won't collapse, it just inflate, but inflating, it's going to become very problematic for those that don't have enough to meet their needs, or people who have a lot and really trying to get out of them because of the prices that become problematic. Dollar will be the last one standing. There's nothing else to rotate into. DB, I do agree. Trillions of useless green rectangles will create a bull market and something when the capital markets crash. Yeah, and I think I mentioned this the other day. I believe that next bull market, it could be in metals or cryptos, just because those are two things that would keep confidence in the public for those that are preppers and people that are heavily stacking. They would love to see the prices of metals go up as opposed to the cost of goods and services, or the inflation from the CPI being the one taking off from all those trillions of dollars actually hitting Main Street. Hand in my bag, it says, what's USD up to 95% inflation now? Yeah, so, and that's another thing, like the whole purchasing power, the Federal Reserve's purchasing power graph that it comes out with annually about where the current rate of inflation is at in relation to what the dollar can purchase. And it seemed like it's been on 90, well, it's been on 2 cents of the original dollar from 1913 for the longest. And so I wonder how long they're gonna be able to pull that off to where they actually think people will actually believe that the original dollar is only worth 2 cents. Yeah. Tony, I'm not sure about that. It says Amazon is getting into the freight business. Yeah. Tony, I saw something about that, and they got more and more planes they're putting out in the air. And if Amazon really wanted to change the game, of which I think they will, I hope they do, is that for the freight service they have, they I don't know what number it's like, maybe got 300 planes going back and forth constantly, but yet they're going to put more planes out there. And if they really wanted to disrupt the flight industry, it would be good for them to put some seats on those planes, because the planes I saw was just all cargo based. You put a couple rows of seats, and you let people, let normal passengers fly those routes for pennies on the dollars, like on some standby type status to fly on Amazon planes. Amazon would definitely cause problems, because they got flights from Detroit to California pretty much every day, or Tennessee. Those are flights right there that people would pay $50 a ride on just to get across this country, like a taxi. That would be a definite way of disrupting the flight game, because then what's that's going to do? Put pressure on all the airlines, and they don't have to lower their prices, restructure. More than likely, they're going to lay off a lot of people to compete. So not good for the industry, but yet we need more competition. I do like competition. Sweet Jones says, Mike, good job on the Silver Doctors channel. Enjoying the interviews. Appreciate it. It's fun to help out with those guys. So strong currencies are an exception. Interesting. In the rank of longest living currency, USD is still number 2. USD is still number 2. Spirit. So what's number 1? Gold. In 1973, a new car was $3,000. $3,000 adjusted for inflation today is probably what? 20,000 or 18,000. Any guess? Anybody want to do some calculation out there? So if 3,000 was a base model car for a Dodge Plymouth, today a Dodge, do they even make Dodge anymore? Yeah. What's a base car? About 18,000? 18,000 for a base car, give or take. Dodge Dart. That's about 16,000. Yeah, 2023. 1 KBC will get you 1 gram of gold. James, I think whatever, I'm not sure, but the KCB and the KBC will merge into another coin, which is a GSD. I think I saw something like that, which would be 1 for 1, if I'm not mistaken. Clean shirt and dirty basket. We got 2019. Where we at? Tony Blaylock's higher. I am not his wife. Hi, first time in your stream chat. The B Lady. I appreciate you tuning in. Where you're watching from. It's always good to have new people to the scene. Says, what do you think about hard assets like silver, gold, or land? The bee lady. Yeah, so a part of rethinking the dollar and how this whole thing got started was basically trying to inform people on just the overall dangers of fiat currencies, whether it be the dollars, bolivars, or pesos, you name it, just because of the structure of our monetary system being debt based. All these national currency, fiat currencies are free floating and debt instruments. So, where anything that is tangible in the form of money, gold, silver, our money, and everything else are claims to it, and of course land. So yeah, definitely those are things that have always held their value throughout time, and I believe will do so in the future, even though we're even though we're transitioning to a digital age even more so. So our generation is not in the hard assets, aka if you can't stand in front of it and protect it, it ain't yours. Yeah. So basically what we say over here is if you can't hold it, you don't own it. And so one of the models here, or one of the things we have, is get your weight up, which is basically referring to just encouraging people to get heavy in reference to tangible assets that you can keep in your possession. Says Jared Matt says SDR will come into play, possibly using XRP cryptos for when the collapse happens. I don't doubt it. It looks like XRP is becoming more of a institutional based topic. So it looks like it's all interconnected and will be a part of the system according to what they want, I guess, themselves to use. I'm not sure if they actually want the public to use that directly. I think it'd be more so for governments. It says, do you remember the old silver certificates? They were printed before the Fed Bank, so theoretically still got tender for silver. Yeah, I don't think there's ever been anything that made those certificates null and void. Problem is the banks won't recognize them, so you won't be able to actually go anywhere to redeem those notes anymore because the government don't recognize them as certificates anymore. So they're just normal notes, more so historical pieces. So not sure who's going to give you some silver for it as of now. Amazon will destroy the airline business. I agree 100%. Hollow Mike stacking. It says, we never wanted tyranny. It says, Hollow Mike stack growing 375 ounces in 2 years. There you go, my friend. Keep doing what you do. Gold is what you want. Can't go wrong with either or. James says 40,000. So that 40,000 ounces, that's pretty heavy. It says, number one, in that context, was a Spanish currency lasted about 120 years. Currency, the dollar is close, but yet not past that. And so the Spanish currency, the thaler, THALER, Spanish measurement, was a measurement of weight. We are beekeepers on a farm in West New York. Sweet. In the bee game. So definitely honey. Honey is an asset. It can be used for a lot of things. In the case of it can be used as a currency. It can be used to barter. It can be used for food. It can be used for, I'm sure, a lot of other things that we haven't thought about yet or invented. But people, as always, it's been great hanging out. I have to cut this short this evening. It's not short, we're on 40 minutes, but have to make a run. But other than that, it's been great hanging out as always. For those that have enjoyed the back and forth, don't be afraid to donate a thumbs up to the channel. Just shows your support. More importantly, I'll be back here tomorrow afternoon. So Friday, check in with me at about 12 or 12:30 for a live stream. For those that are interested in the linkage between crypto and gold, I'm going to have a gentleman on the program to explain more details to those that are interested. So other than that, leave this video and all the links and information to find out more about RTD and the gold team if those are interested. Other than that, be safe, be blessed, have a good evening. So join me tomorrow afternoon at 12 with Brian McGinty on a live stream. And so you guys can call in or chat and ask questions if you're curious about the whole gold crypto situation.